Last week I mentioned that all the Big Ten bashing was a good thing because it meant we didn't have to hear so much about the SEC. But because the universe loves proving me wrong, the Big Ten managed to have another bad weekend, and 5 of the top 10 teams in the new AP poll are from the SEC. Safe to say college football has fallen into its old and familiar rut. Let's kick things off with P for Pearsonell. It's funny because I said kickoff, and Pearsonell returns kickoffs for the Huskers. Last Saturday, the freshman wide receiver made waves by totaling all of Nebraska's punt return yards from a year ago in a single return. Midway through the second quarter, Pearsonell received a punt from his own 14-yard line and took off, racing for an 86-yard score, surpassing the 70 total punt return yards from Nebraska a year ago. While the freshman later had 2 fumbles on a punt return and kick return, neither were lost, and on the night he averaged 30 yards per punt return. It even got to the point where Fresno State started kicking away from Pearsonell entirely, and now people are whispering about a rejuvenated special teams unit in Lincoln. And the fact that Pearsonell could elect to not return another punt for the rest of the season and still have more yards than our team from a year ago is both hilarious and a little bit sad to think about. Next we have N for Nebraska ball. It might only be September, but Tim Miles and his boys are keeping us plenty busy keeping up with their off-season exploits. Earlier this week, it was reported that junior guard Siobhan Shields had shaved his head for Avery Harriman, son of Husker assistant coach Chris Harriman, in support of his ongoing fight with leukemia. If that wasn't enough to make you love this team, earlier this week, Coach Miles received a special request from a 50-year-old fan that wanted to try out for the team. Lincoln News reporter Lance Schwartz tried out for the Nebraska squad after being granted the chance by Coach Miles himself. While the video is obviously meant to be taken as a joke, it's fantastic to have a coach with personality as well as players who also have great character and do great things in the public spotlight. Next we have F for 419. On Monday, the Nebraska volleyball squad moved up to number 9 in the AP poll, marking 419 weeks that the squad has been ranked in the top 10 out of 466 all-time AVCA polls. That's 89.9% of the polls, which is pretty good, I guess. I mean, it's no A by any means, but you get a B+, which is all right. Finally, we have E for 8. Last Saturday, while most of us were watching college football, the United States women's national soccer team was busy beating rival Mexico 8-0. 8 goals in a soccer game is a ridiculous amount, especially on the national stage. Even Germany, which was a finely tuned soccer machine, only managed 7 against Brazil in the last World Cup. But what's even sadder than that is that I have a list of Division I football teams that would have lost to the U.S. women on Saturday. Kent State, Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan, South Alabama, Louisiana Monroe, Kansas, and the Big Ten's own Minnesota Golden Gophers. And while these teams all scored more than 8 points, I think it's safe to say that you could call Rutgers, Penn State, and Iowa underdogs in a matchup against the women's national team. Actually, especially Iowa, considering once Kirk Ferentz finds out that only his goalie can punt, he's just going to have his players pass it back to his keeper so he can just punt the whole game. That's it for this week. Be sure to follow us on twitter.com for any and all updates about Husker sports, @CornFedSports and @CornFedLive. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.